Welcome, one and all. It's been a while. This is the Peace Dealer, and this is episode 35 of our Peace Talk. The guest that we have today is my good friend, Janiece. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I just right before you jump into anything real quick, I was thinking, I was like, everyone, I watched your number 33 Peace Talk, right? And you guys were talking about how cool the master number 33 was. And I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, what number is mine gonna be? And it just hit me that it's 8. And that's my life path number. That's like my number.
Oh, that is amazing. That is actually very amazing. I'm not even gonna lie. So what does eight mean to you for those who don't know like numerology?
Well, 8 to me is a power number, and it signifies leadership, signifies challenges, and it's kind of like a good luck number. The house I'm renting right now is actually 8, the number 8, with a red door. So that, to me, that just shows power and opportunity.
Wow. I also see it as a karmic number too. Like I notice a lot of eight strong people. You're very aware of like things that go and things that come, and you can stand in the middle and like deal with both areas and manifest from both areas too.
Yeah, it's like the master manifester, isn't it?
It is because the master number 44 equals eight too. So that. So where for those who don't know, where are you? Where are you based at?
I right now I'm in Nantucket, Massachusetts, and it's a small island off of the east coast. Like a tiny little island, kind of near Martha's Vineyard. So it's a cute little place. It's about 15 miles long and 30 miles 50 miles long, 30 miles wide. So it's small.
All right. Is it like already snowing over there? I know it gets cold and
I mean, because we're right in the middle of the ocean, our weather is pretty moderate. Because the snow doesn't last too long because of the salt water. So the salt air and salt water tends to melt the snow, so it doesn't really stay around that long. And in the summer, we're always like 10 degrees cooler than the mainland and 10 degrees colder in the winter. It's really windy, but moderate. If you think 50s, 60s are moderate in temperature.
yeah, I'm used to the desert weather where it's like 80s or hundreds like in the summer every day. It's getting a little cooler.
Yeah, yeah,
So
54.
54, okay, moderate, yeah. It's gonna get colder though. I mean, it's getting close to there, so
Uh,
it'll be snowing sooner or later. So what's your sun rising and moon sign for
um, okay, so I'm a Cancer sun with a Virgo moon and a Leo rising.
the
Ta-da!
Leo, the Leo rising pops off so powerfully. Like there's the brightness, the maid, like it's awesome. It's a
Yeah, the
beautiful.
hair comes over, right?
Yeah.
Mm. I mean, I don't feel like I'm like your typical Cancer. If I'm Cancer on a very deep like internal level. I don't feel like I live out Cancer outwardly. Like I don't truly express it. And I think it has to do with like the spacings. Like I think my Virgo moon, like Cancer, everyone kind of judges me and says like, oh, you're emotional or you're too sentimental or weak, and I'm really the opposite. I'm not outwardly emotional at all. I think my Virgo moon kind of checks that. And my moon trines Saturn. So I think that also gives me emotional stability. right? And Cancer's on my 12th house cusp, which also gives me like a cold exterior.
And a deep spiritual intuition.
Oh yeah. Oh, inside it's a whole nother thing. I feel absolutely everything, but I don't necessarily express it all.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And
Mm-hmm.
it's one thing that I love to vibe with. Like I consider myself the magician. I'm very Mercury ruled, and then I consider you very strongly the high priestess. And I love how you could carry those vibes so like effortlessly. Like your Virgo moon is very subtle, but it's very perfect in expression. So I know I for those who have are new to the channel, I linked your New Age Jaw channel in the description box. But what inspired you to start that? Who is New Age Jaw? There's
Well, I think New Age, I see her as a healer. New Age Jazz, definitely a healer and a counselor. She's a healer, a counselor, and someone who has a passion in expressing the divine will. So I, it's kind of weird how I started tarot. And it's kind of weird how I started all of these things, and I don't really know where to start. But I started tarot kind of a few years ago, and I started with like a beginner's deck, like a tiny little beginner's deck that's like this big from Barnes and Noble. And I kind of just started from there, and I started with learning the meanings and definitions of the cards. And as I would like create these spreads and my own spreads, these pictures and these emotions and storylines would just come to me, and I would just understand intuitively what was going on within the card.
They would
I think that's how it. Huh?
You could just see it vividly, like they would just speak out to you. And
yeah, like I feel it. I don't even have to really think about it. It just kind of comes to me and it comes out. It might. I do see pictures and I feel a strong emotion.
I just pulled a tarot card and I pulled the Empress. Oh,
the Empress. Well, you know what? I am it.
Yes, yes. Congratulations. Congratulations.
That is so funny. Yeah, that is perfect.
Yeah, it literally is.
I
So,
love that. Awesome.
right as you were talking about it being all like vivid, it just like aligned with your message. But how is your baby on the way?
My baby on the way is really good. She's kind of controlling my whole life right now. Speaking of tarot, I haven't done any tarot or any readings or any energy healing since my pregnancy. It's just now that I'm able to get back into a meditation trance state, which I'm really excited about because I can now get back in the zone. But for a while now, I felt my aura was closed off to reading my cards. I would pull out my cards and I felt like an inner discomfort. I felt like something wasn't right. I, would do a basic 3-card spread and I couldn't even read what was in front of me. I'm like, what is happening? So I didn't realize that it was probably my child. Mm-hmm. And I think that's also where my Cancer energy kicks into play. I'm realizing that as a mother, I am extremely protective of my energy and my space while being pregnant. So I think it's like closed off from everything.
That's extremely insightful. I actually did want to inquire about that. Like, how do you feel being a Cancer helps the process even more? Like, I feel that, especially with the 12th house energy, there's a greater awareness. I'm hyping it up, but you know, there's like a just instinctive intuitiveness about the process that's just gonna be different than say a Gemini mom who would be so, you know, in her head about the whole process.
Yeah, yeah, a little all over the place, and really excited. But I, it's just now that I find that my maternal side is really beginning to develop. You know, as you know, I have a 4-year-old little girl, and now I have this baby, and now that I'm pregnant with this baby, it's like really bring out my mom's side. I have to really bring out my mom qualities. It's time to like focus on that Cancer sign and develop it and really like grasp it and allow it to unfold and grow within me. So I'm really grateful for this time because it's like a grounding, self-centering experience because I'm able or I'm beginning to unlock certain parts of myself that I believe were locked before, especially my heart.
Beautifully
Cancer
said.
rules the heart. Well, the chest area, anyway.
Very beautifully said. There was actually a question that someone wrote in the comments, Miss Luma Isabella. She wanted to know if you believe in Kabbalah because she's studying it. Are you familiar with the system?
Um, I'm not necessarily, but I think those beautiful figures or shapes, right? That you can color and like get into a meditation state. Am I in the right place? Am I in the right zone?
I think you're talking about like the Tree of Life designs with the circles and the lines through. It's
No.
I'm not necessarily the most familiar with Kabbalah myself. I know it's a pretty cool system, but yeah, it was just a question for you to see if you know. What?
You know, I don't take anything for granted. I think my Virgo moon doesn't allow me to miss any detail. So with that being said, that's like a flag to me. So I'm going to like put that on my to-do research list, and I'm going to look that up right after and delve into it more. So that's kind of a sign to me.
Okay. Well, I want to know. I'm really curious about this because especially come December, it's going to be pretty epic. But how do you feel, especially once again as a Cancer? You know, you're the only sign that has like Uranus squaring you, and then Jupiter squaring you, and then Pluto opposing you. So how have you been dealing with that pressure?
Well, my son also Uranus. So my son is. I feel like I deal with that energy all the time. Like I have a lot of in my chart. I have like a lot of Uranus energy. So I don't. I'm at this point. I'm not necessarily connected to the collective. I am so zoned in on what's going on right in front of me. So I can only speak about that Uranus energy on a more personal level, but I can tell you that I'm doing my best to contain it and to stay in check because there are so many times that I have just gone right off the wall. I have gone right or left out of nowhere because I couldn't just take a situation and I lose complete control. And I think that's maybe my Mars and Aries and my opposition with Uranus. I kind of unpredictably might just like snap. But on a larger scale, I'm not too like aware of it because I'm so like in a cocoon.
Yeah. Do you feel I'm glad you said cocoon and I'm glad you said butterfly earlier. Do you feel like this is that moment, if anything, where the pressure just like births that butterfly? I don't even want to say diamond because that just seems too cliche, but like since you mentioned the cocoon.
I think I'm definitely, and I'm definitely, I believe the butterfly is going to come out after 30 years old. So I think this cocoon chrysalis stage is like a 5, 8, 5 period. It's a long time for me because in this cocoon, I'm not doing so much work. I'm doing a lot of generational healing. I'm doing a lot of emotional healing. I'm doing a lot of past wound healing. I'm doing a lot of healing of the maternal energy, not only my own, but my mother's and my grandmother's. So I'm trying to like connect dots and get in touch with that and a lot of heart healing. But I think after this stage, I'm 26 now. So maybe another 5, 6 years, I think I will be able to bloom as that butterfly. But this work that's happening now, I think that's what it's going to be.
Uh-huh. Okay. No, that makes perfect sense. Especially the whole notion around like 30 years old. It just makes a lot more sense, like the true maturing process. But let's get a little deeper. Um, you would you rather lucid dream or astral project? And on that note, what do you feel about the thinning of the veil and a lot more people being able to like contact relatives through their dreams or you know, kids seeing spirits?
I get it. I get it. I don't know about you. I'm not really aware of the Uranus energy because I think I live with that all the time. But I'm definitely aware of Neptune energy, and I think Neptune was finding my sun or transiting my sun or something the other day. And I have a lot of like my psyche, subconscious. I'm very aware of my subconscious psyche healing at night in my dream world. So lucid dreaming, oh, sorry. Lucid dreaming, I can't say that lucid dreaming is when you dream and you're aware that you're dreaming and then you can kind of manipulate yourself in the dream or the things in your dream. I don't really do that. And astral projection, I only realize it when I'm coming back in, and it's my body is usually like cold and like stiff, and I can't move it, and I can feel myself coming back in, but I never really see myself on the other side. I just realize when I'm beginning to come back into my body. But what does happen to me is I'm sleeping but awake at the same time. So I'm conscious while sleeping. So like I can be laying in my bed, like looking through my eyes and still dreaming, like awake, looking around in my room, but still dreaming, which is really annoying. So I don't know what category that falls
No, that's very revealing because I've noticed a lot of people when they want to, some people when they want to teach astral projection will say you should do it through a lucid dream. So it almost suggests that you kind of like leave your body through the dream, but like
in.
to be seeing the reality while you're still dreaming. So that means you'd have to wake up in the same room. That's kind of dope.
Well, like it's really annoying because I have to like so I could be awake and dreaming, and I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my god, I'm dreaming. This is like really annoying. But I would have to like really like shake myself up and begin to move my body to really snap out of it. But if I like close my eyes, I go right back into where I was, like even further.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of like my deep inner psyche issues get healed while I'm sleeping. Like the other night, this is kind of personal, but I'm gonna talk about it anyways. So the other night, a couple of weeks ago, I had a dream that repeated itself like 12 times, like 12 times, and I would wake up and I would look at my partner and I'd go back to sleep. I'd wake up and it had to do with him cheating, if you would say. Like the dream was about him cheating.
Yeah.
And I would wake up and I'm like, oh, it's just a dream, you know? And I go back to sleep and it happened again. I wake up, oh, it's just a dream, like 12 times. By the 12th time, I woke up in tears. I was crying. I was like in desperation, and I was trying to wake him up, and I was crying. And what I realized is that that was my subconscious mind, my subconscious self forcing me to deal with a deep rooted insecurity by hammering the experience and the illusion over and over and over again until I accepted it and realized that that was an insecurity that I was harboring and it was surfacing.
And then naturally, you probably felt very relieved after you dealt with it in your dreams, or at least it just like had less of an effect. That's pretty amazing. Not gonna lie. What do you?
It was hurtful, but I had to go through it.
That's what I love about the water tribes. Y'all know how to like see things in the perspective of actually corporeally involving your feelings and like feeling through things without even being necessarily emotional or like irrational sometimes, and acknowledging that like invisible energy.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. One I'm dealing with a deep rooted issue right now in regards to my mother, and I think that has to do, well, you know, with Chiron and Cancer, and but anyways, I'm dealing with this deep rooted issue in regards to my mom, and I have this repetitive dream. It's a very spiritual dream, and it's it's me. I feel like me confronting either my dark side being mirrored in my mother, or my mother's dark side being shown to me. And these, yeah, it kind of, I don't like to use this term, but it shows itself as a demon.
Okay.
I don't know where to go, but it shows itself like in an evil form, and I don't know if I'm going off topic, but like my mom has issues with my spirituality. So I grew up Christian, and I grew up in a church. So my mom doesn't agree with all of these studies, and so I feel like she views me as maybe a full person. And so I think in my dreams, I think in real life, I feel like, oh, well, am I evil? Sometimes, like, I'm human, so I contemplate it, or am I doing wrong? You know, I still think about it, even though I know I'm not wrong. And in my dreams, I see her reflecting. I don't know if it's her reflecting back what I think I see in myself, or what I really feel is in her. I don't know. It's so weird. So I haven't quite come to terms with that, so it's repeating itself.
And you mentioned something that I was going to ask you absolutely too. Like, how do you deal with, which I'm sure everyone who walks this path deals with at some point, but how do you deal with re-identifying yourself again as a Cancer, you know, squaring with the Aries and the Capricorn? It's all about claiming who you are, you know. How do you, what is it, what are, or I guess what I'm trying to say is what do you feel, how do you feel New Age Jaws breaking out during these times? Yeah.
Well, you know,
because you're not evil, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not a devil, you know what I mean? So how
I'm not. No, I actually view myself as pretty pure, because I'm very aware of my inner thoughts. I'm very aware of my thought patterns. I'm very aware of my emotional states. I'm very aware of how I react to others on an emotional and mental level. And I'm pretty, like, I'm not a saint, but I'm pretty clean. Like, I'm pretty clear and honest, and I'm not, yeah, I know I'm not a bad person. But I think I'm not afraid of being judged, but I think it's more of feeling confident in my abilities or strengthening them. So I think, New Age is back. She showed her head, and I think she's back inside again because I've realized that there's a few more things I want to fix. And I think that the perfection streak in me, I don't know. So I feel okay. I feel confident, even though I'm being judged by my family. I feel okay about it. I feel free. I talk about I'm a hairstylist, so I talk about kind of stuff to my clients, and it feels really good because I know that I'm helping people with my words. I know I have like this counselor streak in me, and my intuition and my emotion allows me to detect what's wrong within people, and I can put pieces of the puzzle together, and I can see, like if I'm talking to you, I can see vividly what's going on with you, and I can help you along your path. So I feel really good about what's going on. It's just a matter of getting my mother to see me or accept me or not judge me, which is a little hurtful.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, there's
Yeah.
I was gonna say prejudice, but that like feeling of them knowing better for you. You know what I mean? Like the doctor.
It's definitely fear based. You know what I mean? Because she doesn't, I think the generation before us doesn't, well, my mom in particular, I feel like she doesn't really know. And I think when you're raised in the church, in the Pentecostal church to be specific, I mean, they drill in your head that, like, God is the only way, and everything that doesn't have to do with God is of the devil. And I think my mom is just literally afraid that I might be going down the path, and she doesn't want to chance it by opening her mind and actually considering that there might be another way to the divine. So I think she's just afraid, and I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It has to be fear based. I think it's more fear than
Oh, it definitely.
manifest.
I know same with my mother. I feel it's the same way. Like that and a feeling of
Frozen, by the way.
me. My screen is frozen. Oh, okay. Um, let's ask each other three questions. You'll ask me a question, I'll answer it. I'll ask you a question, you answer it, and yeah, you'll start first, and then yeah, once we get to three, then it's game over.
Okay. So, my question to you is, do you believe in reincarnation? And if so, do you believe that it's a choice or it's something that happens until your soul has learned all of its lessons and is ready to progress? And if it is, and if you do believe in that progression, what do you think the next stage is?
Yes, I do believe in reincarnation. And that was a great question. I believe it's more, I don't believe it's as linear as it may be convenient to assume. Like, I don't feel like if I die, then I'll just immediately be born into the next life. I feel like reincarnation is just a soul deciding to incarnate again in a different spacesuit, and you choose when you reincarnate. Some reincarnations are a lot more aligned with destiny, so you know you're the reincarnation of someone's uncle that you knew, and you meet the descendants like 50,000 years down the line. But then also, what's kind of weird about that though, um, with the notion of past lives, if reincarnation is real and there's previous incarnations, I kind of feel like, you know, there are concurrent lifetimes that occur during this one. Even though you could argue that time elapsed and certain stuff happened in the past, there still really isn't, there's still parallel realities that kind of overlap different potentialities and possibilities, given, like they say, everything is random, and random is officially random means that every other possibility that could have happened is equal. There's an equal possibility that everything else could have happened. So that kind of just, that doesn't really answer the question you asked, but reincarnation.
Do you believe in karmic debt? And so, like, do you believe in karmic debt?
Yeah, I do.
For like expansion purposes.
For what?
For like soul expansion purposes. Like, I mean, I feel like we're expanding even though like we are infinite and our souls are infinite, and like in the big scheme of things, we are as big as we could ever be. But do you not believe in karmic debt? Like, this life is exercising our soul.
I kind of believe it in a sense where you guide your soul through certain lessons that will test your vices, and that's kind of like a karma. I don't necessarily believe it as linearly as like, oh, this is your debt from something you might have done before, as opposed to it being over soul lesson. But the concept of it, yeah, like I totally do believe like there's just certain lessons you go through that stem from old soul patterns that you have to like learn from. If in a sense, like, your soul is infinite and when you die you're still alive, then it would make sense that you still carry on certain lessons to finish with the soul. But I also don't necessarily believe that, if you reincarnate, it's a bad thing, like you're trapped in a cycle. Kind of like
that's obviously a choice.
Yeah.
But I think if you take on the human, but then what do you think happens to your debt if you choose to not continue this human experience?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because it's kind of messed up now. A lot of demons or impurities are possessing bodies because they know it's valuable. They know they can manifest stuff with a flesh vessel, and a lot of souls can't reincarnate like it's planned. A lot of people with karmic debt are making deals with the devil, are making contracts with entities. So the whole notion of karmic debt is a little wishy-washy, unlike before where it used to be so black and white. And, it's kind of like asking what all the debt that the United States has, where does that go to? China, but it's just so much, you know what I mean? At the same time, the karmic debt will play out in this lifetime. There's certain things that you're not going to be able to achieve until you play out your karmic debt. If I want to be an astronaut until I pay off my karmic debt by getting through some addictions that get in the way of what an astronaut would do, I'm not going to be able to fulfill my karmic legacy.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's like a little crazy. Like the whole devil thing. I feel like you can, but I feel like you still have to get off somewhere behind the scenes. Completely eliminate the debt there. I think it's just a temporary thing, if anything.
It's valid. And then, there are going to be certain lessons that you have to learn And if you don't learn, it's like, all right, go through this a lifetime again. So my question for you is, especially given someone with your energy, like you're aware of darkness that influences people. They may not even know they're being influenced by a greater malevolent energy that's so what is if someone were to ask you, how do I banish these energies if I ever get threatened in a situation where energy wants to take me over or possess me, or I see it happening, what do I do to take care of that?
You know what? I mean, I don't want to say that I'm a person, but I definitely have gone head to head with entities within humans that would probably really scare the average person. And honestly, so I'm sorry, am I echoing to you?
No, like, what happened?
Okay, am I echoing, right?
No, you're not echoing. You're good.
That's better. Okay, so I've encountered, God, it's so weird because a whole different side of me emerges when I'm confronted with a negative or an evil entity or spirit. Like something just like comes into me and strengthens me and gives me courage, and like my adrenaline goes like pumps up by 1,000, and I feel powerful and in control. And so I've been in situations where the entity shows itself and I can just see it through the eyes, and it has no problem showing itself to me. And then I have to talk to that person while it's showing itself to me, and I try to talk it, through it, and I'll talk to the entity itself. You're not welcome here. You need to leave. You need to leave or exit. Like you're not welcome. And then at the same time, well, that I'm talking to this person will either is afraid, will shut down, or say, I can't do it. I can't do it. It won't leave me alone. So if you really want to get rid of something like this, you just have to stand in your own personal power and really believe and trust that you're in control, and that there's nothing, no spirit, no entity, no nothing in this world that can take over you or control you without you saying so. And if you're ever in doubt, I would just say I'm kind of traditional when it comes to this. I would just say get on your knees and go talk straightly to the divine, go right to God and ask for your assistance, because the enemy always flees the moment that there's light. The moment the light appears in the darkness, darkness flees. So I would just say surrender to the light, and that doesn't always take it away completely, but that's a good start.
That
Did I answer you?
was amazing. That was definitely, yeah, you answered me. Yeah. Thank you very much. I could tell that there's a lot of experience. I think that's that high priestess energy. Like I like how you're able to address the energies real time. And
Well, check this out, right? So I also practice with recognizing the divine in myself. So I do a lot of practice with removing myself from my mind, from the mind, and then recognizing who I am. So with this practice, who I am is the divine. We all have that I am. So I definitely practice the separation between the mind and I am. And I was going through one of my subconscious psychic healings, and in my dream or in the dream state, I was being attacked by entities like negative or dark forces or entities. And usually when that happens, I go right to divine source and I say, I stand right in my power. And when I began to do this, I was like, okay, divine light or whatever, help me, banish this. The voice wasn't traveling. The voice wasn't, usually it travels up, you know. My voice wasn't traveling, and it came right back to me and says, you are.
Wow.
Who are you searching for? You are. So then, like, so that you are. So it's like, I don't, at the end of the day, you really don't have to go outside of yourself to be anything or to recognize who you are. You know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to combat like these types of energies, like you just have to know who you are as, as divine. But if you're not that confident, you haven't quite found that part of yourself yet, always go straight to God. But I've come to the place where I kind of know who I am.
That's solid advice. Very solid. Thank you very much. So we've asked each other a question, and now we'll do it 2 more times.
Okay. Did you just finish asking me one?
Yeah, you just answered it.
Okay. And I did have a question. Okay. Oh, yeah. So do you believe in generational karma? And if so, what karma are you dealing with now that you feel isn't your own?
Great question.
That has to do with.
Great question. Yes, I do believe in generational karma. I believe in generational karma as simply as your great grandfather gambled away all your money. So now you're going to be born possibly in poverty, as opposed to if he saved that money and you would have had a huge inheritance. So there's a probability level. Generational karma in the sense where the behavior and attitude of ancestors before you affected you because of lifestyle decisions. And then I believe in generational karma where, certain families stop worshiping some kind of entity, change religions, marry somebody, and then they have to change religions. And they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to curse your grandchildren and your children. You're going to have to try and do something about that. Or maybe they don't do something about that because they were told, well, just believe this person and everything will be okay. But does that really mean everything is okay? And now lots of people don't even believe in karma or generational karma. So the last thing they care about is, oh, I didn't know that my great grandfather did a ritual and sold his soul to a crossway demon, and now it's actually affecting my life. I want to watch the new episode of Empire. F out of my face. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on that. I totally believe it. I think the thing that sucks is knowing what it is, because most people know how they're being affected, and it's just like, damn.
So what is yours?
Oh, my bad.
What are you dealing with?
My bad.
That's okay.
All right. So it's very interesting because I know my mom used to tell me that on her side, my great grandpa, he built a church, you know what I'm saying, in the village, and it's still up, you know what I'm saying. And then on her dad's side, this dude was like the extra voodoo priest, man. Like he would teleport and, actually be that chief elder and whatnot. So when my grandpa on my mom's side married my grandma, he had to convert into Christianity. And he did. And he died early. And they always felt that. What?
When he married your grandma.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like he would have near death experiences, and like he ended up dying while they were all little, and the hearsay was, oh well, yeah, like he stopped, he left the gods of their generation, so they wanted vengeance, they wanted him back, right? So at one level, there's this whole, come back to your whole, come back to who what was holding you down. But my mom is going to tell me that she doesn't have to worry about. We don't have to worry about, because she's Christian. Jesus Christ takes care of those things. I was back in Nigeria soon, and like when I was back in 2015, when I was gonna move to Cali, and I was all like, "Support me, y'all. Let me go to. I'm gonna really move out and go to Cali." The universe was like, "No, you're going back to Nigeria." Jupiter was transiting my fourth house, so I had to deal with some generational karma. As soon as I go there, I think a week or two later, my grandma dies. I didn't know she was gonna die. She dies. I go to her funeral, and I got a good whoop of what the generational karma is there, because everyone.
By the waves, I'm feeling it by the waves. I'm like trying to contain myself because I'm just getting hit left and right.
It's really ridiculous, because I had I learned stuff about my family I didn't know. Like my grandma, come to find out, she had oracle powers, like she could see, she had clairvoyance, but she rejected those powers for Christianity,
Okay.
so that she could be a Christian. I even talked to a medium, and she was channeling her energy. She was like, "Yeah, Mike, like, I mean, whenever you're ready." She's still, whenever you're ready to follow Jesus or whatever, I'll still bring you back with that same like mentality. Although I'm still skeptical about the whole mediumship. I feel like certain personalities are brought out, but either way, I feel like my karma with this is, I don't identify with Christianity anymore. I feel like the links that my family was supposed to teach this to, because you know if my grandma never rejected that, and what if she ended up teaching it to her children? What if my parents never ended up being Christians because of the missionaries who came during the Civil Biafran War that basically tore it apart and gave it the opportunity to infiltrate and spread? What if I had this? This is why I feel the energy of that ancestry calling me back so that I can restore it, which I feel my ancestry has let go, because I want to say they've been brainwashed. I don't feel like the quality of their life is worse because they're Christians, but I feel that that whole global, it's not just them it affected, the people in Europe had to deal with the missionaries and their whole world being changed.
So why do you think the gap to begin with? Like, obviously there's like a larger reason in the universe as to why there's even a gap. Like, not because your grandfather married your grandmother. Why do you think there's that gap? Why do you think it has been broken?
The spiritual gap, right?
So, yeah, like the spiritual gap, yeah.
I think the spiritual gap is because it was an attack on spirituality that affected a whole generation of people all around the world. And primarily the Pluto Virgo generation, Pluto Leo, Pluto Virgo, Pluto Libra, because it's easier for us to talk about spirituality right now that there's information out and just more awareness. But if you were born in the 60s, if you were born in the 50s or the 70s, and you were this spiritual, like you couldn't really be this aware, you couldn't really be this open with your knowledge. It was still very like dark ages and closed off, which is just kind of but
Scared the crap out of people.
yeah, it's crazy.
I was watching these YouTube videos on the daughter of the man who founded Satanism.
Wow.
And yeah, that is pretty crazy, and it that confused me all night. I'm confused all night. I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but this he founded this in the '60s,
Mm.
1966. So he this I don't know I don't know what I'm where I'm going with this, but
They
can you
out here.
imagine how?
Satanism is out here. Like they're already passing pamphlets out at elementary schools, dumbing down Satanism for kids to like ingest pentagrams. You're gonna see like 10-year-olds doing Satanistic rituals, but it'll be fun and friendly, so it's not gonna be harmful at all.
Lord help me.
Like, why are Ouija boards in the toy section of Toy Story? But my second question to you, because I wanted to ask you about like children and your kids and put a hypothetical scenario. But before I ask that, what do you feel is like the what do you feel about sexual purity in this day and age? What do you feel about like being responsible with one's sexual lifestyle too?
You know what? That's actually something that I'm working on right now. It's a part of reclaiming my the goddess in me. And right now, I'm actually, even though I'm in a relationship, I'm working on healing my sexual energy so that I can reclaim how self, reclaim that purity, and recognize, any shame related to my sexuality, confronting it, and reversing the effects that it's had on me subconsciously. And bringing up the children, I do look at my child, and I'm like, okay, I have to do this for her so that she can understand her own sexuality, and so that she can stand in her own power, and so that she can make the right decisions without me having to scare her or sway her. So right now I'm healing my own sexuality so that I can empower my daughter within her own in her own sexual power, and as a woman, so that she'll know how to direct it and cherish it, and demand the same in return. So I don't know, to be upfront with, healing that sexual, energy within a woman is, whether it's exploring your own body and getting, comfortable with your physical, vessel, and recognizing when you feel uncomfortable, when touched in certain ways, and learning to love yourself, learning to love myself, through self love. You know what I mean? And this can be done in a relationship or outside a relationship. You know what I mean? So right now it's a priority in my
True.
life right now, especially that I'm like pregnant. I think I'm full of sexual creative energy, and I'm definitely taking advantage, um, by using it to heal.
Okay.
Did
Yeah.
I hit you? Right?
Did you what?
Did I get you? Did I get you, or did I miss you?
No, you got me. You totally resonated. Lots of wisdom there, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think women especially don't realize how like powerful they are, and even myself with insecurity and not understanding my own value and self worth, and that all revolves around sexuality and sexual energy, sexual power, and sexual energy is life force energy, it's life energy, recreational energy, it's everything. So it's really important to be comfortable with one's own sexuality and to heal any sexual within yourself so that you can stand in your power wholly and completely. And then, that makes manifestation and manifesting and creating all the more.
Definitely agree with the manifestation part.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's like, that's like a pretty cool practice right now is, redirecting any, just getting rid of the guilt that was imposed on us, in regards to sex. Feeling guilty about feeling sexual and all of that kind of crap. I know a lot of us have dealt with that. And I would love to empower my daughter in her own sexuality as she grows older. I look at her now and it's kind of scary. Like I'm looking at her and I'm like, oh my God, this is like scary. Like how do I, convey this to her, and how am I even looking at her in this light? But it is what it is. Like we are sexual creatures.
Amen. So, yeah, you got one more question.
Okay. What are you having date now?
What am I what?
What are you having babies? No, just kidding.
You never know. Next year.
Do you want to be a dad?
It really could. Like Jupiter's in my 5th house. You know what I'm saying? Like I could be a papa 2017. It's definitely possible.
What sign is your Jupiter in?
Jupiter is in Libra right now, so it's my 5th house as a Gemini. Usually, that's a period where people are more fertile or they have kids. So I can have a
lot of things. Natally, what's in your 5th? What sign is Jupiter in?
Natally, Jupiter is in Cancer in my 2nd house. It's on my 3rd house cusp, but in my 2nd house. But
Cancer.
Yeah, it's in Cancer.
And where's your Leo?
My Leo is I have my South Node there. That's the only thing I have. It's in my 4th house cusp. I see. Yeah.
Do you want to be a dad?
My Capricorn side, yes. My Gemini side, no. Actually, my Gemini side wants to be that too. Actually, I do want to be a father. That would be fun. I feel like it'll be really fun. As frustrating as it'll be, I'm sure they'll break a lot of expensive equipment and be annoying sometimes. But if I don't strengthen and get called CPS on me, we'll have an amazing time.
So I think you'd be really intrigued by them. I think you'd be really interested. I think they would make you feel amazing.
I love how spiritually aware children are. I feel that alone would be like so.
Check this out. You know that hand symbol with the eye in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay. So a friend of mine gave me a little charm that goes on the necklace of like the hand and the eye. Mm-hmm. There was a little eye and stuff like that, and I had put it on my nightstand. And my daughter and I have this thing here that I don't know if you get this across, right? So I don't sit. I talk to my daughter. I tell my daughter that there's a God. Like I say, like I tell her, like, because she loves the moon and she loves the sky, and I tell her that there's like a God, and she's like, there's God, and I'm like, he's everywhere. I try to like, let her know about these things. So she sees this little charm on my nightstand, and she's like, Mommy, what's this? And I'm like, oh, baby, that's just, how am I going to explain that to her? I'm like, oh, that's just, it's a hand, baby, with an eye. And then she's like, oh, but she's looking at me like, yeah, right, like this is something else. Like, why aren't you trying to tell me, she does that. She's very piercing. And by the way, my daughter is a Scorpio sun, Aquarius moon, Leo rising. She's really amazing. I love her. But and the next day she's like, oh yeah, so mom, something God's hand. You know this. I like this is God's hand and God's cross. I'm like, what?
Did you say she was a Libra sun?
She's a Scorpio sun, Aquarius
Oh,
moon, Leo rising.
okay, gotcha.
She's, she's like, her Mercury's in Scorpio too, so that's why she's so piercing and like, I don't know, it's like very straight through to you.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, God, you know, what's up with God's hand and God's cross? I'm like, where did she get this from? Like, where, like, just like that time I had mentioned to you where she was singing a song in the car.
Yeah.
And she's singing, and we were on a like a road trip, and she's singing, and we pull off to the side in the parking lot, and I go in the back to unstrap her from her car seat, and I was like, oh baby, you're singing? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, what are you singing? She's like, I'm singing a song for the creatures in the sky, for the creatures that come down, for the creatures in the sky that come down when God comes.
Wow.
My daughter's going to be 4 on this month.
Wow.
I'm singing a song for the creatures that come out the sky when God comes.
Wow. That's all I gotta say.
And when I ask her, when she says these, like, I always ask her where she gets it from. I said, baby, where did that come from? You know, who told you that? She says, I don't know, my powers.
What? Oh my God.
That's crazy. She knows she has powers, and when she says stuff where I know, like, I'm a mom, like, I know where my daughter is at all times. Like, I'm at home with my child. My daughter, I don't let people don't babysit my child. Like, I'm with my child all the time. I know what she's exposed to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, where is she getting this stuff from? Because I've never told her that there are creatures in the sky that are coming down when God comes, and why does she want to sing to them?
Wow. Wow. That's all I gotta say. Like, wow. And you know what? Oh, keep going. No, keep going.
No, I just like it shook me up, like to the core, like emotionally, like oh my God, like this is. It makes me think, like, you know, what does she know that, like, what does she know? You know, weird. But then you know, she's 3, so like if you try to question her on it, she'll stay on it for like 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden her train of thought switches, and then you lose it, so I can't get any more information. It comes in and and then it's gone.
Yeah, but at such a young age, that's still so remarkable. And it segues into the question I was going to ask you perfectly, because I wanted to know, like, how do you, first of all, you should answer this as like advice given to other mothers, but how do you deal with children in general? And then of course your children who like deal with these real paranormal experiences or even normal experiences, but having to like have a higher philosophy to deal with it. So let's say like your daughter comes back with a pamphlet and she's like, oh, some man gave me this pamphlet about Satanism and I'm interested in it. What would you say? How would you deal with that?
I would, you know, I'm not intimidated by any, like, I find there's truth in Satanism, but what I don't believe, what I don't like about Satanism, how it was explained is like, you know, there's really no love for one another. There's no belief in the divine. It's all about like the carnal world and being animalistic and being worldly focused and not believing in anything outside of yourself. But So I'm not intimidated by Satanism, so I would just explain that to my child. And I mean, I definitely don't want to put my daughter in a box. I don't think children should be put in a box. I think that we should explain things as best as we can, you know, even if we feel that they don't understand us. Because sometimes I fail to explain things to my daughter because I think that she won't catch on. But when I do explain things to her, even as complicated as they may seem, she totally gets it and grasps it. And there's something about toddlers, like this 3, 4, 5, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, maybe 6, yeah, 6. That is so magical. It's so magical, and I feel like they're still connected to like that, to their divine self. Like I don't think there's like quite that separation there. So like you can feed them absolutely anything, and they will retain it. I just wouldn't try to box them, and I would just explain what all of the religions and what I think about all of them and how all of them have similarities and how all of them have differences. And then I would also, believe in the light. I believe in divine. I believe in God. Like I love God. So I would obviously express that to her and just trust that she would feel it within herself to make this, and let her take it from there. And I have the confidence that she would, as children, I think they would want to stray towards the light. And if not, if they're gravitated more towards the dark, I would try to find out why.
It's always good to know why. What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What are your 3 favorite zodiac signs and the 3 you hate the most, or give you the most challenge?
I just want to state one more thing about this whole thing about like children.
Yeah.
Fear is instilled and fear is taught. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important what you expose to your children, especially in regards to like scary, evil things, like scary movies, or even if it's just like a funny or a joke or stuff like that. These things plant fear is a learned thing. Like my child sleeps in a room with the light off and the door closed, and she's not afraid because she doesn't know to be afraid. She doesn't know. She doesn't recognize like fear, but she wasn't taught that there is like monsters in her room and in her closet under bed and in the dark. You know what I mean? So like I think it's really important to monitor what you expose to your children and understand that fear is taught. So yeah,
Okay.
I think that's really So did you say least or favorite?
The 3 your 3 favorite and the 3 you least enjoy. Sorry,
Okay,
your
so
the 3 most challenging.
well, I love Scorpio, but I think it's just a fatal attraction with Scorpio because me being a Cancer and me like it's just being who I am, extremely like sensitive on a feeling level and intuitive. I can pretty much read anybody like challenge, but so elusive as they want to. I feel like they go so deep down into like a water cave bar where like where like no one knows, and I like that. I like to find out. I like to know what's going on. I want to know how you feel. I think I am. I don't like to say I'm manipulative in a bad way, but I'm very good at manipulating energy, and I like to hold it and control it and move it and shape it and take it and change it.
Yeah.
Scorpio is a true challenge. I Cancer. But I think Scorpios can hide from every other zodiac, but they can't. You know, if a Cancer really wants to, she can keep up with a Scorpio and really find out what's going on. So I think Scorpios have like there's a weakness where, you know, with the Cancer Scorpio relationship there, like it's challenging, but Scorpio can't really hide from Cancer, and Cancer can get into the depths of Scorpio, but it's still challenging, so tricky. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I think Scorpio is on my IC, so I love the privacy, I love the mystery, I love the darkness, like the sexiness of Scorpio. I love that, like the eroticism, like that erotic energy. What else? I like so Gemini. I love most of my best friends are Gemini, so I have a lot of Geminis. Like my brother is a Gemini. Three of my good friends are Geminis. I really like Gemini, but Gemini can also annoy the shit out of me at the same time. So I love them and I get along with them so well, but they annoy me at the same time because I feel like Gemini has identity issues, and that pisses me the fuck off because like it's Gemini is so charming and free flowing and blendable and can put themselves in any situation and completely transform into that personality or that event or that occasion, and they could just and change into this, you know, whatever wherever they're at. And then I feel that annoys the hell out of me because they're different depending on where the fuck they're at. You know what I mean? Or who they're with. And I think that at the end confuses them.
Yeah.
You know, they don't really know where because they can fit in anywhere. I think that's a challenge in itself because who are they? Who are you then? You know?
That's so true. That's so true. I be catching myself sometimes too. I get like confused, like, wait, why did I agree to that? Because I knew that person would agree with that. It's like,
Geminis like to be liked. They like to be liked. Like they like that, but I don't know. And I think the Leo in me probably likes Gemini as friends because the Gemini
yeah.
like flatters flatters me, or just like whatever I want to do, the Gem's just like, okay, you know, and I'm like, yeah, you know, cool. Okay, so I'm jumping around. So I said I love Scorpio, and then Gemini is, I have to say, on both sides. And then Libra, Libra, Libra women, they annoy me. And the only reason is because I think because of my Cancer, I like to get a grip on of things. I like to get a hold. Like I said, I like to hold, to be able to hold things. I like to manipulate them, not in a negative way, but I like to, you know, see what I can do with it. And Libra is also, it's an air energy, and unlike Gemini, where they're like, oh, I like you, so I'm whatever you want to do, I want to do. So it's like, cool, let's go, and that you can hold them, like you can work with them. But a Libra, they're like so stubborn and like bougie in a sense. And like if you say one thing, they just want to do the opposite, just because they can, and or they're just really hard to get a hold of. Like I don't like that. That really annoys me for some reason. I do like Libra because they're really charming and they're usually really good looking and they have like a really nice sense of style. But I don't like that wishy-washy, like, I want to but don't really want to, or like, and not being able to like get full. That's probably my dark side.
That makes a lot of sense though. You cleared up the square a lot. They could be very elusive unnecessarily.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I don't like. And then, so I said, I don't, so Gemini, I think, I don't know if that counts as not liking some, like not liking a sign, but it's kind of in the middle. And then, so the last one that also gives me a challenge is, I, I have a Libran brother, and he's really sweet, charming, and handsome, but once he believes in something, it's hard to sway them, and like, it is what it is, and I don't like that either. It's like, I don't feel like they're very, I don't, anyway. So the Sagittarius women, and I think because they're so headstrong, and I think there's such a strong sense of self, and look at me, I'm coming across as someone who likes to prey on the weak, but they're just like so headstrong and stubborn, and I don't feel like they like to look out beyond, you know, themselves. And my mom's a Sagittarius, and my aunt's a Sagittarius, and these women, like, if they say something, it's no, that's what it is, and they know because they're like so smart and they know everything, and you can't tell them any different, and that drives me up the wall. So that's what I don't really like about that. Let's see, and who else do I like? I like Aries, and I like Aries because Aries, I feel like Aries knows who they are. So basically, you can say I like people who know who they are, who are open, and who are assertive in themselves. So I like Aries because even though they might be a little obnoxious, I can respect it. You know what I mean? I can respect that, you know, they're in your face, they know who
They're
they are.
authentic.
They're
They're
authentic. I love
original.
they're original, and they don't care. Like if they have something to say, they're gonna say it, and I love that. I absolutely love that. So Scorpio, Aries, and let's and you know I bumped heads with other cancers because I can feel that force field, that cancer shell. I can recognize it from a mile away.
That's funny.
Cancer women aren't, I feel like they're not described the right way because they're usually very like penetrating and
Yeah. I've been so underestimated based off like the cancer woman I've met and then the cancer woman that I read in the descriptions. And it's like there's a greater sense of power present in real life that's so understated. And it's like, wow. A lot of what they
like
see for Scorpio, the Cancer can kind of do too.
see Scorpio, but the thing is like another cancer, like it because of that shell. You know what I mean? So it's like we're the same. So
Yeah.
it's like I can feel your intensity and here's my intensity, and then so it kind of just like bounces off of each other. So it's really hard to like unless like you know it's usually with strangers and I recognize that. Scorpio, I'm not intimidated. I love them unless Mercury Mercury and Scorpio person can be very hurtful though with words. Like they know how to say things that will just like tear you up from like the
Psychologically. Yeah. Especially psycho.
Oh, they're very hurtful. Like just if they want to like hurt you, words, oh, they can tear you.
They'll wait
They can
until the
tear you down.
perfect time too.
Hmm?
They'll wait until the perfect time too.
Oh, they'll wait, they'll watch, they'll research, they'll take you in, they'll figure out what your strong points are, what your weak points are,
Yeah.
and then corner you in there. That's just, that's someone you don't want to be psychically attacked I've been psychically attacked by a Scorpio, a Mercury Scorpio, and boy, was I not prepared.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I was not. I could feel it. I can feel it closing in, and I fucked up because I was already. They were already in here. So because they were already in my mind, I couldn't block it. So I was trying so hard to create a field. I was like white, blue egg. I was trying so hard, but they were already within my mind. So like they were like penetrating from within and without, and oh my god, as hard as I fought, because cancers are pretty tough. As hard as I fought, she still stopped me. She was younger than me too.
Oh damn.
Yeah, yeah, like younger. She knew what she was doing.
These youngins. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed the call. I think we covered a lot of important topics. I'm not gonna front. So for those, do you have any last word for any aspiring spiritualists, or any last piece of advice? And also, do you offer readings for people, and are there ways that they can contact you, and how?
Well, I'm not. Okay. So you could reach me on my YouTube or at my email, jajareads@gmail.com. But I'm not doing any readings or energy work until I give birth, because it's not my vessel right now, and I can't filter anyone's energy while I'm creating another human life. So I have to be selfish for my child, and I just can't filter anyone's stuff right now. But yeah, so on my YouTube, if you put the link, or Jaja, JAJ@gmail.com. And if you're on a spiritual path, or you want to find your spiritual way and you don't know how to start or begin, I always just start with asking for guidance. And I don't, it doesn't matter who you refer to, like God, divine, light, spirit, like just ask for guidance and wisdom, and just like be adamant on that. I want to be guided. I want wisdom. I want to learn. Can you show me the way? I don't know the way. You can be talking to the universe. Just say these words and come from your heart. I want to learn. I don't know, who I am spiritually. I want to grow as a spirit. I want to know the way, and I need to be taught. Please show me. Please, unfold this path to me. And if you're really about it, you'll begin to see your own personal path and journey unfold before you.
Beautifully said. Very beautifully said. Stay tuned, one and all. We got quite the lineup for this week. And yeah, until next episode,